Well, and the best morning to all of you, to everybody today. I hope everybody's having an amazing day. We're going to start today with some positive energy. My name is BJdichter, and I will be your Harley-Davidson service rep today. Anyways, I'm in a mood. What can I tell you? I barely even got my... You know what a mess this morning is. It's one of those mornings where there's a million things going on. I tried to get my to-do list up to date on the weekend. Hello, Ingrid. Headshots. What's up, brother? It's a good meeting you this weekend, by the way. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But, I go make my my coffee to get ready, and today was planned like almost to the minute because there's so many things going on. And what happens when you use your coffee machine and you forget to put the actual coffee beans in? And you have like 30 seconds until you got to start. So anyways, apologize for the little bit of a late start, but I hope you have your coffee. I have mine, or you have tea, or whatever you want to drink in the morning. Apparently, YouTube is telling me everybody wants to drink mud in the morning, whatever the hell that is. But all the best to you. Wow, that's hot. And this is Monday morning. So as we've discussed on Monday mornings before, Monday mornings are the best mornings, right? Because it's a fresh start to the week. We've got everything organized on the weekend. We're ready to attack on the world. Everything is set up in your whatever to-do lists that you have or organizational structure. I hope, Arisa, if you're watching this in the future, because I know you tend to watch this a little bit later in the day, I hope you've got your OmniFocus set up, or what a friend of mine calls Nerdy Focus, which it's not. And if you need any help with that, let me know. I want to talk about that at some point in these streams. So, it is Monday morning. It is still nice out. It's a little bit cloudy here in Toronto. But yesterday, we didn't require any jackets. It was still warm. So let's hope this is going to trail on. And I think that's the problem with global warming. They just haven't really sold it on the benefits, like all the good things that come from global warming. Like, imagine if anywhere in the world it was warm and tropical, like it was during the Cretaceous era, that the entire planet was warm. But I guess the dinosaurs were sitting driving around in their oil-fueled cars, and that's what led to global warming back then. So because it's all artificially made. But anyways, won't get into that too much. That debate kind of upset. And I'm in the middle. I'm not like hard on either side on that debate, but it is what it is. So, good morning to all of you. Oh, and I got to do something on here. I'm building this little checklist of all the things I have to do, and you can help me. Maybe I'll send you guys the checklist, and you can kind of tell me, all right, you forgot to do this, you forgot to do that, and whatever. It's just because when there's 3 devices all at once that are streaming, like it just gets a little complicated, right? And the problem with, or I should say the challenge with checklists are they can't be too long, right? They can be long enough, but not too long. So if you have a checklist that's, 20 things, it just becomes too much. I think if I remember from the checklist manifesto, the optimal number of things on a checklist are 7 items, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, thank you all for being here. We're going to start the day in a positive manner. We're going to start the week in a positive manner. And I hope all of your... Fuck that. That's really bright. I hope this is going to lead to all of you having some amazing things happen this week. The weekend was good for me. I mean, it was nothing but work. I mean, it's constant, but it was good. And I hope it was good for you as well. So, for those of you who aren't watching on Locals, honkingforfreedom.locals.com, there is a free promo code, which works for some people, doesn't work for others. Promo code is FREE, all capital letters, and the number 6. In order to be on the list for the book launch event, so we're going to triage the event, The first list of people that will get access to tickets are people subscribed to On Locals. And the next is going to be the people who subscribe to Substack. And there are going to be some changes we're going to be making to the Substack very soon. And so two articles that are in queue, and another person who's drafting one. So just a little bit overwhelming. Putting this book together has been like a nightmare, but I think we're about to shift from one big stage of the book to the next big stage on Friday. So that will make life a little easier, and it'll make life a little more difficult in some respects, but it is what it is. And I know you guys want to know the whole story of everything that went on. I'm going to do my best. There is Honking for Freedom on Telegram, and there is a Rumble channel. And if you go to the Rumble channel, you can click on the Locals button on the top. That will also bring you to subscribe to the list. And the reason I'm doing this is just because of censorship. Much like during the Convoy, I was very concerned with censorship on social media platforms and how to fight back against it, and that's why I developed the strategy that I did, which I explain in chapter 11 of the book. And I haven't decided if that's going to go on Substack before the book releases as a teaser or not, but that will explain it. Oh, I can't see. You know what? I can't see the comments window. Shoot. Hold on one second. Oh, there it is. Oh, hey, sorry, everybody. I didn't mean to ignore you. Ryan, Sonia, Megan, everybody else. Thank you for being here. Iceberg, honk, honk. Right on. Well, actually, at my truck, it's honk, honk. But thank you for being here. So a couple things. This is kind of important. A little notice from one of our supporters, a trucker who was in Ottawa. He said he needs some help. I posted on Twitter. This particular trucker is looking for a couple by the name of Guy and Shirley from Wasaga Beach, Hong Kong, Hong Kong hitchhiker, and they from Wasaga Beach who had a black Jeep on Nicholas Street. Need to talk to the guy about my case as a witness. So he's looking to get a hold of this witness. You're going to start to see a lot of this start to go on as we lead into some of these cases, and in our particular circumstances that I don't know. There's a couple of things going on. There's the commission, which is likely going to be a joke, and but there's going to be some calls for truckers who need to reach out to witnesses, and I know it's difficult for some of them to trade information. You know, it's minus whatever degrees. It was cold. You try to get somebody's number. You type it out. You write it out. And then you go back home to send a message, and there's some letter that's incorrect or something. It happens. It actually happened to me on Sunday. So if Deborah is watching this, Deborah, I tried to send you an email, and I don't know, maybe I'm misreading what you wrote because there's a little bit of scribbling in there, and it told me that the email address doesn't exist. Okay, so very important. And if you were any sort of witness to any sort of trucker that was involved in stuff in Ottawa, please try to be proactive if you could to reach out to them. Just because, I mean, some of these guys work, 80, 90 hours a week and trying to deal with a lawyer at the same time, and all of these things congruently can be somewhat challenging. And things slip through the cracks. Everybody's got busy things in their lives, and then their lawyer calls them and says, okay, where's that witness? And, well, what are you talking about? I thought you talked to him. There's a little bit of miscommunication, so they are going to need some of your help. Okay, so a couple things. This is awesome. So trending Twitter topics through this weekend. The top trending topics, at least from what I saw, and I think most of you saw, because even the fake news media had to respond to it to gatekeep for our political losers. The first was Trudeau. Well, right now, actually, sorry, this is today. Trudeau resign is trending. Freedom Convoy was trending all weekend here and there. It would go up on the trending board. They would remove it. It would trend again. They would remove it. And then Trudeau must go. And that was the one that the fake news media picked up on, and apparently we're all Russian bots. Everybody's a Russian bot, right? So Russia. And did I explain, maybe some of you seen here or not, but why I did the Russia Today interview, which is actually uploaded to my YouTube channel, because when Russia Today was removed from YouTube temporarily or from a bunch of social media. So once that happened, I thought I should upload it to mine so it's still available. Did I explain why? Well, I'll explain why. Because during the convoy, the fake news CBC decided, one of those morons decided to spit out another stupid comment like they always do, these panels of people who think they're important. Said something like, well, is it possible that this could be, a Russian operation, referring to the convoy? And once I saw that, I got so excited. I was like, ooh, wait, I got a request from Russia Today. So I kind of hobbled back to my computer because I was sitting off the side and I was talking to a couple people who were in my room, one of them who informed me of it. So I hopped over to the computer and I scanned the email really quickly. I'm like, there we are. This guy Pavel from Russia Today asked for an interview. So I said to them, I'm going to respond right away. Let's see if we can get the idiots at the CBC to start saying Russia collusion, right? So, that night I messaged Pavel and I said, hey, do you want to do an interview? We can do it tonight. And they agreed, because by that time, every news agency in the world was trying to get a hold of us for an interview, except for Rebel News, which is a whole other issue that's likely going to come out and going to be very, very damaging. Or not, who knows? Maybe they'll play nice. So, so I went to and I did the Russia Today interview, and it was great. But unfortunately, the people at the CBC were smart enough not to take the bait, which is disappointing. I wish they did. I was so hoping that the fake news media would start a narrative to say that the trucker convoy was a Russian operation. That would have been amazing. Anyways, all right. Sorry, my nose is so itchy. I don't know. Every time I go, there must be something in this room. Okay. So the looking at these hashtags. So you got Trudeau resign, Freedom Convoy, and Trudeau must go. Do you think maybe that our convoy might have had something to do with this? Do you think maybe we had some sort of impact on politics in Canada? Maybe worldwide, I don't know, but because the coverage of the convoy was global, but at least in the Canadian sphere. And let's assume my premise is correct, because I think we all kind of agree to that, right? If it is, do you think it's odd that the Conservatives are not talking more about the convoy and truckers and blue-collar people? Like, if you notice their messaging is really mute, why do you think that would be? And do you think that's a missed opportunity? Should they be talking about it more and embracing us in the convoy? Like, it was amazing. Leading up, there were... I said to one of the guys in Ottawa when Pierre specifically started talking to various people about the trucking convoy kind of behind the scenes, and he was talking to Bitcoin people as well. And one of them said, wow, it's almost like if only the Conservatives had, I don't know, a former candidate who might have had some involvement in the Freedom Convoy and also knows something about Bitcoin, maybe spoke at the Bitcoin conference in Miami. Like, if they only had somebody who understood messaging and all those disciplines all at once, that maybe they would reach out to that person. And I said to the person, I'm like, oh, you mean me? I'm like, yeah, no, they don't have the balls to do that. They only have the balls to reach out to me when they're trying to shove their talking points in front of the Freedom Convoy organizers and get us to regurgitate what they wanted us to say, which was, we're going to explain that more going forward. And it was really weird. It was, they started, I mean, everybody tried to get involved in the Freedom Convoy, not just the Conservatives. I'm not trying to pick on them specifically. But they started the earliest. They started on January, when was it? January 25th, I believe, was the first email and text message. And the way they did it, it's like they lie constantly, because they couldn't just be truthful and honest and direct and say, hey, listen, we're here from the Conservative Party, which I knew they were. They were honest about that. And just say, hey, we have some ideas of how we can help you. What do you need from us? It wasn't, what do we need from us? It was, hey, we have some people who can speak on your behalf. And here, look at these talking points we have for you, which were the most milquetoast, boring talking points that had zero relevancy to the Freedom Convoy. It was quite funny. And just like, dude, and I think I said to, because we had a bunch of conversations, I just said to them, dude, no wonder you guys can't win an election if your life depended on it. It was really weird. But anyways, I'm not saying I'm for and against. I just wish they would find their spine. And I'm hoping that Pierre will do that. However, I'm really concerned by their deputy leader. Like, you don't take a leftist who's in the party to become your deputy leader. And that's going to be a whole other issue that I think should be, maybe that'll be rectified. I don't know. Beth on Locals says the impact of the convoy is so far reaching the people may not be aware of it, or don't want to address it, don't want to accept it, the reality that blue-collar workers can actually influence politics. Yeah, I mean, they say that, right? They get up there and they say that, oh, we're here for the working class and working and middle class. They say that, but, you know, are they really? I mean, and again, we're not picking on any particular party, just politics as a whole. So I don't know. Do you think that the Conservative Party should become, I don't know, conservative and be more vocal in their support for the Freedom Convoy, despite what people in certain, you know, small pockets of urban centers might think? Because we're going to do our best to educate people on the ground what actually transpired in Ottawa. That's what the book is about, right? That's why I have some, you know, heavy hitters that are trying to help with the book, so we get the truth out and bust through the echo chamber that the fake news media has built around people. You know, there's that moat where information doesn't get in. And that's why the tone of this book, it's not negative, actually. It's really quite positive. It's an amazing, it's so good. But it's an amazing story, and it's all positive, and it's all about love and the unity and everything that went on there and all the backstories behind it. There's a couple little bumps in the road, but in general, I think anybody who reads this manuscript will walk away with a positive feeling. That's what the book is for. If the Conservatives, I don't know, wanted to see an opportunity, they'll help take this book and say, yeah, maybe people on the other side should read it because it gives the full story and not lacking any context of what happened in Ottawa. Much like the interview that me and Tamara did with Rebel News, that Ezra Levant spiked, which would have solved so much of these problems, right? Like, it was the first conference, I can't get over it. It makes me crazy. It was the first press conference. We just finished. Alexandra came in, did it for an hour. It was me and Tamara. It was great. The entire world was chasing us for this interview. It gave us in our full context, so no ambiguity about what the motives were for the Freedom Convoy, what brought us there. The fact that we all became almost like a family. Yeah, we squabbled with each other a little bit, but we all made it work, and it was all about peace and love and freedom, and the cops were great to us on the ground. Like, everything was great. And Ezra's the only person had the interview, and he spiked it, and just waited for the legacy media to just finally catch on to it and start to smear us or he could have gotten ahead of it, but he didn't. I don't know. Why did that happen? You'll have to ask him, right? So anyways, do you think the Conservative Party, whether you're conservative or not, or any political party in general, should warm up to those of us in the Freedom Convoy to say, yeah, what happened there was not what the fake news media said, right? Anyways. Okay, got you. Ryan, they think they're trying to pull... I think they're trying to pull in the people who are on the edge of the cult. Yeah, well, that's true. If they go too hard, they may scare the normies away. And, it's that sort of contempt for the normies that, the normies will get scared, like they don't understand how the world works. Like, come on, right? Like, people who, it doesn't matter where they lie on the political spectrum, they all have families. Many of them get married and have children, and they understand sort of the complexities and the difficulties of life. But the political parties are treating them like children. Oh, well, they can't know because it's too complex. They'll get upset. Like, stop. Like, it's so frustrating. Just memories of all of these conversations that I had while I was in that party, a lot more invested in that party, should I say. Anyways, okay. So yesterday was World Freedom Day, and I want to give a shout out to Headshots, who's here on Instagram. Headshots came up to me, he was there, and thanks for saying hello, dude. You were the first person actually to come up to me when I arrived to say hello. And there's a bunch of people that were great. It was amazing. It was a beautiful day. There were some great speeches. There's some wonderful people, some good friends there. Salman, Daniel, a bunch of others. And it was nice to see that kind of that vibe of positivity is there as well, that it wasn't negative. And there's a range of different thoughts and opinions and ideas and politics, whatever, but everybody kind of respects each other, and it's all about embracing each other's freedoms and everybody's right to speak and think freely, and that was great. What was disappointing, or I should say, it was a little bit disappointing. I saw what they're going through as well. So they're going through the same strategy that was used during the Freedom Convoy, this divide and conquer strategy that comes from political parties. Not political parties directly. They always use their proxy organizations to do it, right? So what happened in the case of, as I understand it, at the World Free, because the last time I was there I was there first in May 2020, when they first start. Well, a few months after they first started, and I went another time. I can't remember what it was, just to stop by and pretty quiet and just talk to people, get a feeling what it's like on the ground. And so what happened was there's a group that's been trying to divide the group, apparently, from what I'm told, and get the group to stop meeting at Queen's Park, to get them to move at another park called Christie Pitts on Dundas, a Portuguese neighborhood, right? My grandfather grew up. And, you'd think, well, who would want this weekly protest at Queen's Park, where the Ontario government meets every week for their parliamentary sessions, or every day when they're in session? Who would want them to move away from Queen's Park? I wonder, maybe the government in power, because they keep criticizing Doug Ford. And these people are not, again, they're across the spectrum. It's not about conservative versus liberal versus, there's just a whole range of people there. So, and they were explaining to me what's going on. And then I looked, they showed me some shots online of the group or some groups or something that were trying to create this divide. And because I said to him, wow, that sounds awfully familiar. I think that's exactly what I was going through in Ottawa. Let me see. And they showed me some of the stuff that they're putting online, different images, shots, articles, not so much memes, but whatever. And I said, wow, yeah, that looks familiar. It's the same strategy. And, a little bit of background. When I had my business on the university campus, and we dealt with, it was graphic design and printing and large format stuff and portfolios. It was all like, more artistic sort of stuff. You start to get a feel once you learn the basics of graphic design that when you see enough of it, it becomes, someone's style almost becomes like a fingerprint, right? And you can tell when something is coming from the exact same source. I saw that with the Women's March in the United States like 3 or 4 years ago. There was Women's March, Black Lives Matter, and some other group that were all protesting over a period of 6 months. And I'm looking, I'm like, that's exactly the same formatting as that group, which is the exact same, like you could tell that's the same fingerprint. And what I saw when they showed me there's a group doing the same thing to them that happened to us in Ottawa, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the same people are doing it. The same hired guns. And that's just par for the course. So what happens is you have to think political strategy to understand how this mechanism works. You're a political party. You have a movement, a trucking convoy. We'll take that as an example. And you don't want to talk about that in an election. You want to talk about milquetoast stuff that's boring because, again, you have contempt for the normies and think they can't handle divisive issues, right? So you want to have milquetoast. Oh, inflation and whatever. Fine. So what do? You have to get involved in that group. You have to send people into that movement to assert themselves, to take over and steer it in a different direction, and then divide the people within it into different groups, the same way that liberals do with people, Liberal Party right now, the Trudeau Liberal Party, does to us, to all of us in Canada. So you divide them into little groups, and so then there's no longer a cohesive message, and the movement dies, and the only thing that's left in their minds are, just the fringe people are there, and then they can be dismissive of it, and then they can just focus on their primary milquetoast issue. That's what they do. And that's what happened to us during the Freedom Convoy as well. So we knew that going into Ottawa, and Tamara, when she called me, we were talking a while ago, when I was in Ottawa, when I was out west, she was explaining to me what happened with her initial convoy. It was Tamara and a whole bunch of people. We're a group of us, and they're all kind of giving their takes on it and explaining it. And what happened with the first convoy in 2018 is they arrived in Ottawa, and Andrew Scheer and Michelle Rempel met with the leaders, or some of the leaders, like half of them, because there was a group of, 5, 10 people, something like that. It wasn't a very large group of leadership at that point. And they said, okay, those 5 people there, they're racist and they're misogynist or they're homophobic, whatever. Same thing you get on the liberal side. And they say, so we can't support that. But if you separate from them, we'll give you money because we have donors to the Conservative Party who can't donate to the party because there's a maximum donation. But what they'll do is they will funnel money into your organization that you're going to set up, and that will become the movement, and those people over there, the racists, just ignore them. And but we'll support you. We'll be there with you the whole time. And what happened? After 6 months, the movement was dead because that caused a whole bunch of infighting with the original group members, and nobody could agree on anything. They couldn't agree on a unified direction because there was so much bad blood, because one half was taking money and the other half was getting nothing. And so the movement died, which is why leading into Ottawa, one of my messages was, we're not leaving. And the whole idea of us saying we're not leaving was, Conservative Party, stay away. We don't want you meddling in our thing, which they did anyways, right? They and many other people did. But at least it put it on a hold for someone and bought us a little bit of time, right? Which leads me into what we keep talking about. Who do you think sabotaged the conservative? Who do you think sabotaged? That's not a Freudian slip, by the way. Who do you think sabotaged the Freedom Convoy? I'm not saying it's the Conservative Party. I'm not saying that. But that is what happened in 2018. and 18, right? So we're aware of this strategy. And that's exactly what's happening to the freedom movement, because they're starting to get some momentum. It's a warm weather. Lots more people are coming out. The marches are getting larger. People are protesting more. And no political party wants to touch it, so they need to send in, again, the donors who can't donate to the party will donate to all these proxy organizations to water down the messaging, and it kind of goes nowhere and the movement dies. So they're under attack again. Luckily, I know exactly the names of the people and the companies that they run, and who is sending that money, and who the go-betweens who are taking a commission off of it, and how the money goes. Like I know everything, but things will have to evolve, because all of this is really quite esoteric. It could be a book in itself, to be honest. Just the sabotage of the Freedom Convoy, just that topic itself, everything that happened from the tail end of the Freedom Convoy up until now, that could be a book, because there's so much that's been going on behind the scenes. So anyways, that's my little thing. So World Freedom Day, I gave a speech. A bunch of people gave speeches as well. The vibe was great. There's a troll who was there who is, I have, like, if this happens, Jordan Peterson and I were talking about this, that when he started to get quite famous, I guess you'd say, the amount of people that were attacking him and trying to do, engaging in reputation destruction. And it was just shocking. It was shocking. It was people you'd think that, like, you should be on my side. I don't understand. What is it? And there's a whole bunch of motivations. Sometimes people get donations. They get money. They get gigs. They get promises. They get promises that if you become a spokesperson for ABC, we're going to make you famous, right? I mean, that happens all the time. So he went through that to a massive extent. I'm doing it with a little bit. But luckily, in this case, I mean, there was a guy at the Freedom Rally who was, I guess, he was helping the one of the groups that were trying to sabotage us during the Freedom Convoy. I've tried to explain it to people, but people didn't really understand it because they don't have this context around it. So they don't understand how the mechanism mechanism functions. So I couldn't get into too much detail about it. But anyways, and he was there again yesterday, doing a video, oh, I'm a grifter, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, he didn't even have the balls to come talk to me. He just, like a little weasel, just sitting there. And when I got on stage, or on the statue, I saw there was somebody in the crowd that was trying to get people to talk and turn to ignore me. And I'm like, okay, whatever, ignore it, and just kept going. And I think eventually kind of won everybody over and understood we're all on the same side. And this actual grifter, or political swamp rat is a good way to describe him, was the one who's, part of this team that was trying to sabotage us in Ottawa, and maybe he's trying to sabotage them there. I don't know. I don't care. That's kind of low-level stuff. But it was quite funny. It was entertaining to see that these tactics still go on in politics, and then politicians wonder why people have such a negative view of them and political parties. Well, it's because of bullshit like this. That's exactly why. But anyways, I do want to thank all the people, and I put in my tweet today, who were in the PPC during the convoy that were messaging me, and I got to know some of them pretty well, who were, what were they doing? They were warning me and saying, listen, this particular guy is not representative of us. Their headquarters is really concerned about him. All he does is he's very mouthy, and he gets everybody into trouble and turns everybody away from our party. We don't like him. We've told the party repeatedly to get rid of him. They try to, and they can't. It's like the cat came back. That cat came back. He hangs on like a leech. I'm like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? You know what? So then I just kind of ignore it. This is the first time I ever. I engaged in a Twitter space once, and it's just like, it's assertion after assertion after assertion. All of them that are false. But if you don't respond in one quick sentence, to refute 20 different false assertions effectively, immediately, then you're lying. It's a very dishonest debate tactic that's used usually by hardcore leftists, which is what this person is. He's a hardcore leftist who doesn't know he is. Anyways, but other than that, and I didn't know that it was even occurring during the Freedom Rally, so for me it was amazing. Everybody was wonderful there, so I thank you everybody who was there, who came up to me, who talked, and it was had some really good in-depth conversations with people, reasonable people who are all concerned about, what do we do moving forward. I tried to give some white pills and show all the good things that are happening, and that things are getting better and will get much better. And I think we've hit the peak of craziness in society, and we're going to see things start to turn around slowly. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen. And we just got to be patient and stay positive, and we'll get there. Okay, last thing I want to talk about. Beth says, such a book would be informative and eye-opening. About the sabotage. Book number 2. It's funny you mentioned that. Well, I'm not saying anything just yet. We got to get book number 1 first out, which is... have I told you how amazing the book is? I sound like Trump. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it's really good. Because also what we did is we interviewed people, obviously not just myself, but we interviewed some of the other people and got their perspectives. And we got the perspectives of people who were in the trucks driving across the country, which I wasn't. I was here in Ontario. And we told their story. So I think it's going to be amazing. And I hope each one of you gets a copy and encourages others to do the same. But that's up to you. Hopefully you'll be pleased with what you get. Okay, this weekend, we are doing, I'm so excited for this, we're doing, are you busy on Saturday night? Because if you're not busy on Saturday night, I've already set up the stream for the Punchy McGregor fake news Freedom Convoy documentary. So here's the idea. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to set up the stream just like this. I might put on the devil Joe Biden lights just for kicks, and we're gonna watch Punchy McGregor's bullshit documentary about the Freedom Convoy, because the problem is nobody's watched it. Like, nobody watched it. No one cared, because I think everybody realized it's nothing but complete nonsense. So I thought what we can do is give him a couple of more views. So he probably has like 5 views now. We'll give him another 10 views. And I encourage all of you, grab a drink if you want, or whatever makes you calm, or whatever. You do your thing. And I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'm going to walk us through the documentary. When you do that, you have to stop and start it a little bit for the YouTube algorithm, just not to get a strike, even though I'm probably not going to use the YouTube video itself. But just as fair use, it has to be evident that it's commentary on something. So we're going to watch the Punchy McGregor video. We're going to have a couple of drinks. And we're going to have some laughs. And we're going to show, once again, how the fake news media is completely fake, false narratives. Nothing about it is true. And I've watched the first 10 minutes or so. I haven't decided if I should watch the whole thing first and then watch it again, because I honestly, I don't know that I could subject myself to that sort of torture. But I haven't decided if I'm going to watch the whole thing through again, if I can watch the whole thing through and then watch it again with you, or just watch it virgin together. I think maybe just watching it us together the first time would be more hysterical. And I'll keep all the comment windows up. And and I got to remember, somebody's got to remind me to post the comments that are that you guys post to the feeds. And we'll do that during the Punchy McGregor thing. So, you want to add your comment, throw it in here, and I'll throw it on screen when we stop, and we'll talk about some of the things a little bit. It'll probably be long. Think of like Red Letter Media when they did their epic takedown of the prequels that They were just as long as the movies, if not longer. So I think this it's probably going to be a night. It's probably going to be, I would think, a couple of hours at least. And but I think it'll be fun. I want it to be fun, lighthearted. Let's enjoy it together. Let's enjoy the time, and that sort of thing. That's the vibe. Wyatt says 1 plug for a Rebel fundraiser equals 5 minutes on camera. Oh my god. Yeah, well, that's quite funny actually, Wyatt. All right. And I'm looking for more. I'm just going to try to, because I got to get into this habit of posting your comments. Yeah, Sonia, no hate Mondays. Yeah, totally. Like, that's the whole idea. We want this to be a positive experience. I want every day to be a positive experience. And the way to do it is just to set that positive frame in the morning. And if you can do that, then irrespective of the things that happen later in the day, it just makes it easier to deal with them, right? At least that's what I find. And that's what that's what I was trying to do during the convoy. Like, every day people would be coming in, freaking out, stressing out over stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you stressing out for? Like, Tamara was so heavily invested in some of the stuff. She was so concerned, and she was under so much pressure that there were quite a few times she came in, and I'm like, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. It's going to be, we'll sort it out. There's the sky is not falling. This is just another little issue we're going to deal with. We got to stay positive in that positive frame, which really resonates with her, because she's that she definitely has that sort of positive outlook, right? So, and Tony says, don't watch it prior. Okay, Tony, I will not watch it prior then, I guess. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. So we'll go in fresh. All right. We're already at 41 minutes. Okay. I have a couple of. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing is, so for those of you who saw me streaming on Saturday night, getting white girl wasted, I'm gonna try not to do that during the stream. I have a really low tolerance for alcohol. I'm not a big drinker, but I'll probably have a couple of drinks on Saturday night to lighten up, and I encourage you all to do the same. But just a couple, not too many. Like, let's not go crazy. Okay. Questions and comments. I'll just get through one of them, and the others, I'm going to defer them to, a couple here. So first, somebody says, is it important to know if somebody sabotaged the Freedom Convoy? Yes. Not necessarily to have a witch to burn, but with a topic so complicated as the goings on in the protest, it is important to know all of the details. Each detail gives important context to the others, and definitely 100%, especially when we have to fight against the media and the government debunking their lies, 100%. And again, that's what the book is for. That's kind of the first step. It's written so it could be for people who are supporters of the convoy, but also for people who are not supporters and who were fed the lies from the fake news media. That's who it's for. So, and that's also why it was important to keep a positive frame throughout the manuscript, right? So yes, agreed. And then, reference to the 2 people that were trampled by the police. Somebody put here, the Shira Princess says, I think there was an OPP or RCMP officer who went to work with a big hoof print on his forehead Monday morning after the horse incident. That seems to be pretty evident because of the caliber of the people who I know who were trying to track down this officer and this other victim, and follow, the resources that they had and the amount of time that they put in, checking with every hospital, every police detachment, all the paramedics and head contacts in all these areas, find out, was there a call, who's the person, whatever. And after all of that, the person who was investigating it said to me, the only, after, decades in journalism, The only excuse, the only rationale I can come with now at this point is that was an undercover officer. That's the only thing possible, and that the police pulled him aside and got him treatment off the records. You know, because when it's a cop, when it's undercover stuff, when like they have different means to hide people's identity, especially if they try to use the excuse that, oh, it's an issue of national security because there was a protest with bouncy castles. It's not a far stretch that they were able to keep this on the DL sort of thing, and that's what they did. Tiffy Roll says, oh, Amanda, your breadcrumbs are killing me. I'm sorry, Amanda, but it's because it's really complicated, and if you just go out and tell people things that they don't want to hear, they tend to react negatively. Because I think in some cases they'll be like, okay, yeah, I can understand that this group or individual was trying to sabotage the convoy. That makes sense. But then there's other ones that'll be like, no, that can't be. No, that can't be. And slip into cognitive dissonance and then start attacking me. And so I need people to understand that I'm just telling the truth. Whether it's digestible or not, that has nothing to do with me. It's just what happened. Tiffy Rolls says, it was very strange. There were no information on the guy in the brown jacket. Yeah, exactly. And there were significant resources in mainstream media trying to find out who this guy was with zero success. And that's why I was told what I was told, that it had to be an officer. And then Amanda says, I completely understand. Amanda, I love you. I promise you're going to be happy in the end of it. But I think a big part of it is also to the book will help give some context as well as we go down this journey and uncover who was sabotaging. That'll help. Oh, locals just shut down. Okay, I'm going to have to, my iPad just died. Sorry, everybody on locals. I didn't realize, I thought it was charged enough. Okay. So, I apologize. It is what it is. And, but I will walk you through this journey and everybody will understand exactly what happened. It starts with the book. And then from there, I'm sure, after the book launch and after people have a chance to read the manuscript, there's going to be so many questions at that point. I'm sure there is, and that's where this platform is going to come in handy, and that's part of the reason I want to have this. So everybody, as you're reading through the manuscript, you can come here and ask me directly, and maybe what I'll do is I'll start going through specific incidences in the book, because there's a lot of stuff we couldn't cover, or else, you know, it'd be War and Peace. Like every day could have been 50,000 words. But I'll ensure that there's complete context and transparency and everybody understands everything. I'll do my best. Okay? K9 says, I was told from a credible source he died. No. That's the one of the other things they checked was death records. They checked with all the morgues and everything, and there was no report of that at all. So I hear you. But no, that's not what happened. Hold on, let me just find my pen here. So, and you know, they were on this for a good solid week and a half, which for a veteran journalist, that is that's a lot of time that they can cover a lot of stuff in such a short period of time. And you know, like they were frustrated. They're really frustrated and dumbfounded that they were unable to, and they were quite shocked that in their minds that our law enforcement and government would go to that extent to cover up what they were doing, which what I was told in their mind, from the journalist's mind, was completely illegal, how they were behaving, and in violation of all of our rights in Canada. So yeah, it is what it is, right? Okay, so I think that's it for today. It's despite all the stuff that we're talking about, I think it was pretty positive. Like, look, I telling the truth is always a positive experience, I hope, right? And there's always going to be ancillary noises in our lives and things that are going to bother us. But if we're reframing our days and our mornings from this positive perspective, then I hope it's helping all of you get through some of the issues you have to deal with. Like Hitchhiker, I get the impression it's helping you too, based on what you had sent me. So I hope it's helping all of you. I know it helps me. Ryan C7, you've sent me a couple of messages. One I actually shared your message with one of your messages with Jordan Peterson. And yeah, man, like these sorts of things are they're amazing. So I thank you all for being here. And Iceberg, I thank you for the honk, honk, honk. I really appreciate it. And I hope that's going to become more popular moving forward as the book is released. And I think you guys will see why. And thank you, Wyatt and Sonia and Megan and everybody else who I haven't mentioned. I appreciate you. And I got to run, but we'll talk soon.